Yeah.
Anyway, put it like this.
That's good, Rick. So we're gonna start. Okay, so I'm gonna start. We're gonna start taping now.
All right. If you're in an area where you know winter comes, like in D.C., you know you're gonna get 3 months of winter. So prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Better to have and not need than to need and not have. So
Is this some of the worst?
this year is probably, I've been out here 8 years. This winter is probably the second coldest. Last night was the second coldest that I've noticed in 8 years.
Do you ever go and stay at a shelter? That's okay. All right.
I have never stayed at a shelter a day, not a single day.
How come?
Well, because I've never actually stayed there, I can't give you facts. But from a lot of people that I've spoken to, there are bed bugs, there are roaches, there are rats. They're not very sanitary. And there are people that do some things that I don't necessarily do. And to me, it reminds me of an institutionalized environment, i.e. like being in a penitentiary or something. There are rules, there are people that administer the rules, which I understand because you have a group of people that's... So, it's not something that I want to do.
So what do you do once the sun goes down and it gets colder?
Well, as you can see, I have a pillow set up over here. I have a blanket over top me. Underneath of this blanket, I have a U.S. Army sleeping bag.
You stay right here on this bench?
All night. So, what I do is, somewhere over here, I have my secret weapon. Somebody put some McDonald's there and didn't tell me. That happens a lot, by the way. Anyway, I have somewhere over here, you've seen the pack of hand warmers.
Oh, the hand warmers, yeah.
Right now, you can come forward. It's okay. They can put it on camera if they want.
Happy New Year, man.
God bless you. Thank you. All right. Now, hand warmers are my secret weapon because not only can you like warm your hands, if you throw a couple of packs in the bottom of your sleeping bag, the heat will rise at least up to above your knees. It keeps your feet, your ankles, which are very important because then you don't get all tightened up and get cramps. And if you seal your sleeping bag off, you can really be warm.
Last night when it was at its worst, what does it feel like?
All right. I'm not going to say that's a loaded question, but I'm going to give you the honest answer because I've been in both situations. Last night, for me, individually, I didn't have a problem because I had been in that situation before some years ago. I have proper gear. All right, let me show you. This is Gore-Tex. It's windproof. It's waterproof. Right underneath that, it's another layer. It's another sleeping bag. Underneath of that, it's another sleeping bag. Underneath of that is a North Face coat. Underneath of that is long johns, a sweater, and a hoodie. So, over top of that, I pull this down comforter over top of my head. Underneath of me, I got this thermal pad right here. So, basically, if no one comes and bothers me, I pull these drawstrings right here. Each one of these levels has a string. It has a zipper and it has Velcro. Now, if I get all of that together and pull it closed and put this up, this mask up like this, I feel nothing.
Wow.
I can stay here, rain, snow, hail, sleet, I feel nothing. However, if you don't have this, if you have a blanket, which I've been in before, and the wind is blowing 30 miles an hour, and it's cold, and you're laying directly on these slats, they act like fans that are pushing the air closer to you. it's
So you've
it's
been on
it's life threatening.
you've been on the street 8 years. What were you doing before that?
Well, I've been a lot of things, but for the most part, I worked for the phone company for 20 years. I've operated retail establishments. I worked in fast food. I've always worked all my life, every day. Okay. So,
How long did it take you to figure out these survival strategies on the street?
took me a year, because when you first come out, you talk to people, and people tell you that ABC this, ABC, do this, do this, do this. At one time, I took newspapers in plastic bags like you get from a store and stuffed them down in my pants legs and in my jacket sleeves to insulate me. That worked real well for a minute, but it's not very comfortable when you're trying to lay down and go to sleep. There are different places where it's safe to sleep and different places where it's not safe to sleep. The weather particularly. Mother Nature is, she's not such a nice lady. If you're not prepared, you will find yourself in a very bad situation where your life will be threatened. All right, let me do this. Oh, I can do this one.
You put the thing on the tip of your hand, you put your mouth.
Okay, now, the thing is this.
I'm gonna keep doing it once in a while. Okay,
Right,
you
all right.
mind?
Don't mind. Go ahead.
There we go.
Now, the thing is this, mostly. I was in the military, and the thing that they preach in the Boy Scouts and in the military, be prepared. The life you save could be your own. This is not weather to play with. I don't know how familiar you are with hypothermia. It'll put you to sleep, take you, you're dead. You don't get a second chance. So it helps if you have some degree of education, you have some degree of knowledge of the situation. How grave it could be in a matter of minutes. It helps. But you got to understand, like in D.C., they have basically people on the street that some are not mentally organized that well. The city does what it can to try to help them get off the street. But if a person's a little disoriented or needing some sort of medication or whatever, and he's over there behind that building, and it's late at night and the wind's blowing, and he just doesn't have a coat on or doesn't have a blanket or doesn't have whatever, he could be dead. He could be, at the very least, be frostbitten.
Where did you get this stuff? This is pretty high tech stuff, like the outer sleeping bag.
Yeah, it's high tech. Well, I got it online, so I bought it off Amazon.com.
Where do you get it shipped?
To a friend of mine's home.
Nice.
But I have, like, very hot Columbia boots. I have North Face equipment. I have all kinds of stuff to help. I tell you what we'll do. We'll make this real easy. I'm not gonna die.
You have the same coat I have on.
Basically.
Pretty much.
So, for the most part, thank you, darling. God bless you.
That's one of the hand warmers.
This is one of the hand warmers. Things warm longer, up to 10 hours of heat.
That's a nice thing for someone to give you, huh?
Sure. More valuable than money. When it's cold out here like this, it's better to have. This is just something I like to say to anybody anywhere in the world. If you see somebody outside, most of the times people are very kind. And everybody will want to bring you something to eat. Right? Now, I would never know this before I came outside. 90% of the time, people out here have been bought something to eat already, either from one of the establishments or somebody brings them a bag lunch or something.
Drops McDonald's on them.
Yeah, drop McDonald's also. So the best thing to do is think, what might they need? Warm, dry socks, some hand warmers. Costs about the same, $1 a pack. that will go a long ways towards saving somebody from frostbite or something else more than a bologna and cheese sandwich, if you understand what I'm saying. You know, so it's not like a lack of appreciation or something like that, but a guy's
What's needed for the situation?
Yes, what's needed for the situation. That's basically what it is. And if you're out here, I can't speak for anyone other than myself. My message is this. If you're out here and you got bad habits, put them aside until the spring. If you want to see the spring and you don't want to have, you know, because you can get tissue damage and you think you're okay, but you're not really okay.
Lose the feeling, you know?
So, and then the next year, it compounds itself. So, most people that have bad habits end up on the short end of the stick. If you got bad habits, put them aside to the spring.
Alan,